Links to my channel here over at SubStars. The various other links have a mailbox as well. So I don't know if you've been following Elon Musk's Twitter the past couple of weeks, but he's been moving further right into more ethno-nationalist waters, addressing a bunch of hot issues. And it's a different. It's like somebody said, like, did Elon Musk, was he replaced? Because he's pushing some talking points, and it happened like all of a sudden over the course of 2 weeks. So people are kind of wondering what happened. It's great that he's doing it, but like why? I mean, why didn't you say it earlier? So we'll see see how far he goes with it. But it's got all the right people very nervous, which is a good thing. I mean, he's done. Like, it's hard to get a handle on him because he seems like a really sharp guy, and you go, well, how come he doesn't know about these other issues over here that we're worried about? It might just because when people are this wealthy, they're really removed from stuff that's on the ground. Anyway, so Elon Musk had mentioned his trans theory, theorizes that demonizing white males is pushing them to embrace gender ideology. From Phantom Pulse here. And that's probably correct, and I've heard other people mention it as well. So what happened was, over the past 10 to 15 years, we saw the rise of the BLTQP phenomenon, or Weimar 2.0. I mean, even Weimar is not really Weimar 1.0, because if you have like Sodom and Gomorrah, you want to call that the original, whatever you want to call this. And you think, well, this all could be organic, right? It's like the left wing goes, well, it's like the rise of left wing, where left-handedness, where it wasn't acceptable, and now it asymptotically approached its limit and then leveled off. It's like, yeah, I don't think that's the case here, because you've got like generation by generation, like 20% of some generation says they're trans or something, some kind of nonsense. This is more like was it the Holland tulip mania type of nonsense. So, but over the past, and there's a video from the for SubScribeStar that gets into this, what's kind of deeper going on, where I remember, like, it was like 10 to 15 years ago, Miley Cyrus came out and said she was pan, which kind of caught my attention, not because I care about Miley Cyrus or her pop culture or whatever she's into, but the word pan is obviously interesting, but it felt like something else was going on. And then I watched her, and I watched this thing over the past 10 years, and yes, indeed, something else is going on. And pan is an interesting word, because like pagan, demonic, the goat, natural forces and whatnot. So no, this is not organic. Always assume everything is fake unless there's the burden of proof is on things being a work of some sort. Nothing in America and now the West in general is organic, because the media and universities and other NGO institutions like the ADL, SPLC, ACLU, and then there's a bunch of others whose articles I read every other day. GPATH is one of them, or Nina Jankowicz's Sunlight Project. All these, they're all shadowy funded groups, and then when you look into the companies and subsidiaries, it's like, oh, it's either Soros or BlackRock or State Street or Vanguard. It's like, what are these $1 trillion in assets? Why are they pushing these things? And some of them are like, they're comically evil. Like, you look at Nina Jankowicz, and it's the Sunshine Project or the Sunlight Project, except everyone's anonymous for the writers of the articles, and then the donors are all anonymous. She's the only name and face. It's like, so I was like, Sunlight, the disinfecting, the open marketplace of ideas, and Sunlight being the best disinfectant. So who are the donors? Oh, you don't need to know that. I mean, it's in the name, Sunlight Project, Nina Jankowicz, and the Ministry of Truth. So these Soros-owned groups have completely captured the mainstream media. And as far as I can tell, the capture is actually complete in the mainstream. And if some Tucker character gets too close to the sun, they just get kicked off. Now, alternative media is a different story, but almost everyone over, 50 maybe, is getting their programming globalist talking points from the TV, unfortunately, which is, CNN and MSNBC, or the right-wing Fox, the far right-wing Fox. There's Nothing in the mainstream is on the right wing in any definition whatsoever. Not in any real definition. So in the West, the majority of media is globalist controlled lizard people, and what they can do is boost degenerate messages that destroy in-group preferences and nations. And with the Miley Cyrus thing, messages and narratives are coming out all the time. It's particles emitting in all directions, but only some get boosted by the system, by the machine. And for that, it's not the propagation, it's the dissemination of the information. And that machine is the media in its various forms, and then the universities and the teachers unions and the school boards. They're all pretty well connected. And then the entire narrative systems get on board, and this is everything from videos, websites, to the old-fashioned physical newspapers and news magazines. I don't even know if they sell news magazines anymore. And the universities and teachers union with Weingarten, and she was very concerned about the Wu flu. So the entire system is controlled by literal Bolsheviks. And here's a bit of proof for you. Go through the mainstream media and find ethno-nationalists and actual conservative viewpoints, interviews, guest writers, or entire art media companies in the mainstream. The Jared Taylors, the Dr. Duke kind of, further right, but actual conservatives, like a Red Ice type of thing. Not the people who call themselves conservatives, not the InfoWars, the Alex Jones, but the conservatives. They call themselves conservatives, but they want third world people to come legally, or they happily applaud the gay Republicans on stage with Charlie Kirk. And the issue would be, if America is about like 50% white now, European heritage American, and Texas and California are already Mexican majority states, then what are you conserving? And a lot of that was at the feet of Ronald Reagan. Turns out electing personalities is not such a great deal. But honestly, it turns out like maybe electing anyone is not such a great deal. So government schools are completely taken over with gay propaganda. Cities are violent cesspools, and the border states don't act independently to close the borders and deport foreigners back, in dealing with this concept of people who call themselves conservative, which you argue, well, that's the federal government's job, and would probably foment a civil war if the states, Texas and Florida, stepped up to do these sorts of things, which is fine, because if upholding the Constitution as a state gets the federal government to attack you, then that federal government is illegitimate, and it's like you might as well just pull the Band-Aid off and get this party started. So that's what being a conservative is, actually conserving the race of the people who made the country possible. There's another thing I discuss with people on social media is European Americans are indigenous Native Americans, because they're the ones who created the country America with the American Revolution. They are the Americans, and like ethnogenesis speaking, nobody is actually from the New World. Everyone, the first people in America, which might have been the New World, might have been the Vikings, and then later on the American Indians, all came from Eurasia one way or another. Either they came on boat or they came on the Alaskan land bridge at a time of global cooling. So conserving the race of the people and their posterity who made the nation is what, it's in the definition of the word. So the left wants to replace you by any means necessary, and the right will sit back and allow it to happen while saying they want to replace you legally. And I look at the right wing, and and they go, you got to go back and come back legally. So I look at them and go, okay, well, what if Trump waved his pen and made everyone here legal? It's like, would that satisfy you? Because now they're legal, so everything's fine, right? And they look around, it's like, yeah. Winning again award. So the left wants to replace you, and the right is only too happy to allow that to happen. While we're at the end stage where both sides are just looting the treasury, taking money from U.S. dollars and converting it to any other sort of assets. So there is no right wing in the mainstream. The actual right wing conservatives are the guys the normies smugly call feds, who are marching around peacefully protesting as the founding fathers intended for us to do. It's in the Bill of Rights. Yet people, it's so important. It's one of the 5 subclauses of the First Amendment. Yeah, people are such obese, cucked, brainwashed, bleeding pussies that they have to call these active groups feds as a deflection coping mechanism to justify their never leaving the couch and putting down the video games or the manga or the anime or the sports ball or all the bread and circuses for the tax cattle. So I read this book called 1776 a few weeks ago, and if somebody wants it, you can hit me up on Subscribe, and I'll mail it out. And the Americans fought great when they could be organized enough to arrive at the battle on time. But they had a habit of like going fishing or going back to the farm or the ranch to make sure that the corn was in and just kind of showing up for battle whenever. But they said that they were ferocious fighters, but like the British were like a trained military. So the book covered the difficulty that Washington had trying to herd his kitten army and get money from Congress and simultaneously dodge assassinations from the Loyalists. And I keep coming back to this idea of the British, mostly the English to be fair, being comically evil back then, and even to this day, with the way the government covers up the child rape gangs. At least 300 years ago, 250 years ago, the British were fierce nationalists, and they had in-group preferences, and they were a world power for a while at least. But then you look at them now. Britain is like 70% British, ethnically British, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, or English, and they're being replaced, and they put themselves in a position of having to go to war and remove a quarter of the country if they want Britain to survive. So somewhere over the years, they were subverted and corrupted from within, and most of it happened post-World War II, which is kind of the death of the West. And in hindsight, you can say, well, it probably would have been better if America had remained loyal and there was no American Revolution, or 150 years later, never fought in the European wars at all. Take a look at America and Europe now and give it some thought before you get violently angry at such a concept. What was the point to fight an American Revolution and then endless foreign wars to get so fat, lazy, and cowardly that we were just too limp-dicked to fight to maintain the nation? As he said, it's a republic if you can keep it. Washington didn't win America by peacefully marching and such things. He killed tyrants, and he avoided being killed, and that is the definition of winning. And now if you talk too much about the Founding Fathers and defeating tyranny and watering the tree of liberty, well, the FBI will come by and murder you. Now kids are taught in schools that European people are bad. The thing is, every race on Earth did horrible things, but very few did amazing things. And schools are not teaching a fair, balanced perspective. Not at all. And honestly, they haven't for a long time. And the thing is, the Europeans did those amazing things. Now the schools are so captured that they think white people invented slavery because the government schools told them, and the anti-white media reinforce these lies. You ask young adults what they know about the Islamic slave trade and Islamic colonization, and the atrocities they committed against the areas that they enslaved, and they give you just a blank stare. They go, isn't it the religion of peace? Ask them how many people Islam enslaved over 1,400 years, or murdered or raped, and they deflect to capitalism or Catholicism, the Inquisition. It was almost 800 million. Ask the Indians how the Muslims treated them. What's the Kush mean? It's like the town of the slaughter, where entire towns of tens of thousands of Indians were beheaded. Ask the kids about Reconquista, and they have no idea what actually happened. They saw the Woman King, so now they understand the Dahomey tribe and palm oil and the evil British and French. Except the movie was openly a lie. And the problem with that degree of gaslighting with the Woman King movie that the John Boyega was in from Star Wars is that the movie, exists at all. And it's still out there brainwashing the increasingly low IQ population. Or it's the same case with that book, Roots, which was later turned into a TV show. I won't say it. And then explain that the book was fiction. It was plagiarized. In fact, he successfully sued the author of the book. I think it was the African or the Ethiopian who wrote the earlier book that it was plagiarized from, successfully sued the Roots author and won. But in their headcanon, and if you want to laugh, just go read like the first 50 pages of Roots and how he describes this idyllic African village. It's ridiculous. It's, when you read it, you're like, this is pure fantasy. I mean, I wouldn't even. It's like it would be like the Hobbits and Lord of the Rings type of fantasy. I mean, you wouldn't even write it about a European village. It was just everything was a great big feast and everyone was getting along and the wise elders, and you're looking around, you're like, yeah, this doesn't match up, not just with African history, but like that's just not human history, the way he was putting them up on a pedestal. But in the left-wing kids' headcanon, it's a handful of blonde-haired, blue-eyed Chads went into the jungle and just threw nets in Wakanda, all the while dodging tropical diseases from mosquitoes and flies that would kill them and they had no immunity to. And magically, blacks, Arabs, and Jews had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It was just Brad Pitt in a safari hat, a whip, and the power of the N-word. The institutional brainwashing by government schools using Ghislaine Maxwell's family's textbooks is too deep to be fixed. You can't use a corrupt system to fix itself. It's the normies waiting for Congress to investigate itself. They're insider trading, so that's not going to happen. It's like waiting for the FBI to make these arrests. Yeah, you're going to be waiting forever. It's insane, the naivety of the average voter, but it's not their fault. By now, there have been like 3 or 4 generations under globalist Hollywood propaganda. And keep in mind, Hollywood has been a exporter to anywhere in the world that understands English, and then later on in translation of American propaganda, which obviously it's not really American. So the kids are not all right. They're dumb, they're brainwashed, they firmly believe things but can't articulate why they believe them, and when presented with counter evidence have a Pavlovian reaction to reality crashing in on their fiction. Racism isn't real. None of those terms that have been recently invented, anti-Semitism, trans, gay, Islamophobia, all those buzzwords, they're all command line level control terms to manipulate the cattle with fear-based social pressure. And nobody's actually trans. It's a fad, like all the other fads that have come and gone in human history. So what happened is, the globalist anti-web media has, since post-World War II, started to focus hatred on the European people in general and deflected negative attention from anyone else, and they've pushed every manner of filth and degeneracy by using the most powerful propaganda tool on earth, the TV. It's, what did Malcolm X say? Like, allowing your enemy to educate your children is a fatal mistake. And the education in America is not in schools; it's in the TV. Kids. The propaganda coming from the TV was like, that was a poison pill that America swallowed by not having control of TVs. So none of it is real, but when you have total control of the media, the gaslighting can get to this ridiculous point where much of the country believes things that objectively aren't true. You ask them, who killed 800 million people? Catholics or Islam? And in their mind, it has to be Christians of some sort, and the witch trials and Inquisition. And then you show them the real numbers and compare the two religions, and they don't know what to do with that information, because it would mean that the government, schools, and media had not just been lying to them, but also to their parents and grandparents for 60 years, which they objectively have. It's a lot of cold water in the face. And the brutal thing is that the truth is out there, but it's in books, and some of the books are on like the real banned book list. Not about like my two dads or, sodomizing uncle whoever. Like, those books aren't available in school. No, we're talking about, I always look at those people who talk about banned books and I go, okay, well, like, is Mein Kampf taught in schools? Is it in the school libraries? Is it available to check out? And it's like, oh, we don't like, when we mean censorship, we don't mean those kind of books. Oh, okay, there's a Reddit censorship forum, and they exclude those books. It's like, so you believe in censorship, just like censorship of ideas that you disagree with. It's like, you can. I mean, you're not even convincingly lying to yourself if you believe in some censorship, but not others. But the books are out there. For some reason, they're not in school libraries or taught at all. Ask them about the American Indians, and they just have no idea how they took slaves, sex slaves, and also routinely tortured each other. Or you ask them, well, if is diversity their strength as well? Because didn't the Indians need European diversity to culturally enrich them? If they believe in open borders, then Hawaii was enriched, and the natives needed to learn to be more tolerant of diverse cultures from around the world. Or the English in India, or French and Chinese in Vietnam, or the Jews and the Palestinians. Shouldn't Israel take refugees, or even vice versa? Shouldn't we invade the Middle East and force diversity on them? After Islamic colonization, shouldn't we convert some of those countries to Christianity to force diversity of religion onto those countries? Or if they don't, then they're willing to look at American Indians, for example, and conclude, yeah, it looks like diversity didn't really work out for these people. It kind of seems like it destroyed their way of life. Because which is it? Do you want multiracial societies or not? Like, it doesn't just work in one way. If you think diversity going into Europe and America and Canada, Australia is a good thing, which just results in European genocide, because it's not going the other way. So it's like one number increases and one number decreases. Like, well, that's the definition of a genocide, but they don't seem to want to accept that. And you go, well, so like the English who were going around the world, it's like they were just bringing diversity to the world. It's like they don't know what they believe because they don't have core values. Everything they think they know about the world, Hollywood taught them, or now they're being programmed by communists on social media. They don't actually know anything yet because the knowledge is in books that they refuse to read because they're written by quote-unquote fascists, and it's a catch-22, where if someone disagrees with their Hollywood programming, then they're de facto fascist, and Hollywood told them, well, that's bad, but they can't define it. It's why the Hassan talking to Pine Sap got my attention, because one of the sentences from Hassan where he said that this guy's views sounded like fascism, and if X, then Y, being that he doesn't talk to fascists, which is important because it means that he's not a liberal. He's something closer to a member of a religion, where if I label somebody a globalist and then I say, well, I don't talk to globalists, then it means I don't want to defend my position. I can simply say that we don't platform globalists. We have zero tolerance for globalist filth, and a good globalist is a dead one, and call in Pinochet's helicopter and all this other kind of nonsense. So it kind of works its way into a stochastic death threat for anyone who isn't on my side, and it's childishly stupid. It's not how adults discuss matters openly, and that open marketplace concept. That's a Western concept. Yet Hassan openly did this, and nobody in that discussion mentioned it. And to be fair, like, they were young, very inexperienced kids, and Hassan is in his 50s or 60s or something, and has been playing this media game for probably 30 or 40 years. So you have a slowly increasing globalist anti-white propaganda campaign from literal communists that the government should have handled a long time ago to push anti-white racist hate. The globalists want all the focus to be on the European people and nobody to focus on the violence and crime of these other groups. Schools openly create a hierarchy with Europeans on the bottom. It's not real, but how many kids are going to speak up? And it's not the kids' job. It's the parents, and European Americans have no representation because groups like the ADL say, oh, you're not allowed to have representation. Every other group is, but for you, it's verboten. So the anti-white racism and stochastic terrorism continues for 60 years, slowly building up to the point where the European kids in schools either end up joining ethno-nationalist militias, which is absolutely the correct path forward, or like pagan and Satire European power groups and secretly work to destroy these the anti-white movements, or they join the BLT community, the gay and trans, and they pretend to be somewhere on that list of imaginary identity groups because it takes them out of the status of the lowest rank of being Western European, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed folks, to the highest rank of, it's all fiction, of marginalized and oppressed and disenfranchised and othered and gay, trans, other. They refer to themselves as a minority now. If they're somewhere on that, the LGBTQP, all this kind of nonsense, to go as a marginalized minority, and they're talking about like 1,000 years of oppression sort of thing. So now in this cultural Marxist system of oppressed and oppressor from Moses Mordecai Levy, they have victimhood status. And the funny thing is, when you look at the violence against the gay and trans community, it's not the people of the light who are removing them from this mortal coil. It's a different community. It's not people who look like you and I, if you follow what I'm saying there. But when you mention this and you go, there's a POC issue going on here with violence against this community, they suddenly shift to, well, that doesn't matter. It's men. It's men. We're blaming men, even though they can't, literally cannot define what a man is. And they refuse to discuss the race. Then I ask, well, if race isn't relevant, then why would sex be relevant? Just say humans are killing humans like we've done since the beginning of time. The ethnicity, race, and sex are irrelevant. Obviously, it's relevant, but it's all horseshit. Either it's all relevant or none of it is relevant. But that's the concept of political correctness, to get people to self-censor with the threat of doxing, getting fired, swatted, even getting murdered, debanked, evicted, put on no-fly list, banned from credit cards, payment processors, rental agencies. You get the idea. Every way they can affect your life, they will if you dare to speak the truth online. America has this official religion of cultural Bolshevism, and there's no way to vote your way out of what you never voted your way into. And it's interesting to watch people who think they can, and you look at them and it's like, surely in the back of your mind you must know that you're not going to elect somebody who's going to start turning this around. Like, that's not going to happen. Where if you think like you're going to elect somebody, Trump was kind of the last great hope for people, and he's done nothing. As people fell for it again. Award. People knew he was not going to do anything. You're not going to elect anyone in any European country, any white country, that's going to do anything, because you're not really electing them. Someone else is pulling the strings on these systems of power. So the issue that Musk is addressing also leads to asking, well, who is pushing this anti-white racist hate campaign? And the two things he's doing is, well, he's asking that question, who's behind it, and then he's giving validation to the entire concept that there's a community of European people around the world, and the validation of the elephant in the room, that there are people in America and the West who are using schools, publishing, and media to direct attention away from real issues and brainwash people into believing this religion of cultural Marxism and this oppressor-oppressed hierarchy, and people of Western European descent are responsible for everything. And then I bring up these other groups and go, oh, no, actually, it's this group over here, it's this group over here. And they lose their mind. They go, well, that's not important. We all need to come together. Why is that relevant? Like, well, why was it relevant that you pointed out that they were white or Christian, and I point out there are these other groups? It's like, how come it's only relevant if it's against people of European descent? That obviously it doesn't make sense. Anyway, careful video this was. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out the other videos on SubScribestar, and I'll see you guys all next episode.